so expensive. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
With insurance, so they're billing my insurance for 45 minutes of physical therapy. My insurance gets billed $345, and I still pay $93 with tax out of pocket. And I'm like, that's just.
Hi, Danny.
I need to open a physical therapy place.
That
All I have to do is own it.
what they bill and what the insurance pays.
Oh my
It's
God.
all funny. That's just made up numbers.
Absolutely.
It's had no basis.
Could not agree more. Right,
Danny?
Mr. Lane?
Yeah.
How are you?
How did the
what's the
good.
prognosis? Are we better?
Yeah, it's
Fits.
been good. The swelling's all went down now, and I can move it a little bit.
Oh, good.
So, it's good.
It's good to hear.
I'm
Yeah.
doing squeezing a ball and,
Oh, they started on the physical?
yeah, starting me on the system, rolling marbles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so.
they got stitches that need to come out? though?
Yeah, they're down through here. So, I gotta get them out Monday.
They don't have you reaching down through a 5-gallon bucket of rice to get the ball?
No,
Oh,
they
that-
just haven't-
that one's fun.
I got a ball and a
'Cause
frog.
you do
The frog,
this.
I make it
That's
right pop.
Yeah,
Oh, the
to go through the
frog.
rice. Yeah, the sublimation of turning the.
Sublimation, yeah. See, that's what you do.
The rice. Right.
Expert, that's an expert.
When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the start broadcast
Oh,
button.
so Mike, did you go on the tour?
I did.
Oh, how
Yeah.
was it?
It was interesting.
Fine,
You know,
how
it
are
was
you
a
doing?
lot-
I can't
complain.
The broadcast is now starting.
Independent
Keep on to listen
And their
only.
clients are like like a big engineering firm or a big law firm. Instead of having all their servers hosted at their place, they have them all there. And so a lot of what they do is just provide the space for them.
Right.
and the power
Yeah,
and-
I just having trouble dressing myself anymore.
Yeah, the coolest thing,
Uh,
they have this backup power. Of course, they
I'm
have
getting
big
there,
generators
though.
that sit out, in one area. Power goes out, they fire up. But there's this 5 to 10 second period where if the power goes out before the generators come on, that they have to like power the whole facility for like 5 seconds.
Oh,
And there's this room, they have these banks of lithium batteries, but they also have banks.
Have a lot of physical
of,
therapy.
What do they call
See
it?
that?
Flywheel? A kinetic energy storage. They have these massive flywheels that are just spinning like crazy. And if the power goes out, the flywheels kick in the generator and they generate power until they spin
Like 5
for
or 10
about 10
seconds?
seconds is all they last.
Wow.
So there's this big cabinet with this great big metal flywheel and they're just spinning like crazy all the time, 24/7, 365.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like that. That kind of a big spring wound up.
Was it Josh? Was that the gentleman's name that spoke?
Jason.
Jason.
Yeah.
He, I was like, gosh, he'd be good for maybe a little.
Did you order this weather?
commercial.
Oh, I know it.
Speak here,
Yeah.
or I kind of said,
They offer.
I already kind of made the
Yeah.
comment, because I went and introduced myself to him.
Oh, maybe that's why you offer.
I don't know. I was like, you know, something, I said whether it be,
Yep, I'll be
you know,
right there, hold on.
no.
I was rattling the town hall, or maybe our city council meeting, but I think this, you know, it was a good educational moment in general,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can tell he does it quite a bit. I think he's still testing out some of those jokes.
Yeah, I think he is too. I was like, okay. And they were they were timed at almost exactly the exact same, almost apart, like, they came at the exact time. Yeah. Greg, did you go on the tour?
I did, yes. Gotta go to the tour.
Okay.
I think that's what he's doing.
Want me to run in?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Did you send an email to Nick? I gave you his email yesterday.
Oh, that, I'm thinking my kid.
No,
I was like, no, I sent him a text though today. Checking on the snow. I did, and he said, he's worried to their,
oh, you got a response?
I did.
Amazing.
Because I said your name.
I asked him last week, I'm like, hey, any follow-up on this? And he hadn't responded, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and he hadn't responded to me, so I'm like, you know what? She asked for his email, I'm gonna give it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
and
said,
I only just said, I hope you, I think I said, don't mind Joe Stable giving me your name. I didn't say anything else. Just wanted to follow up, and I didn't like forward those emails or anything, it was, you know, Brandon's email, and then,
2000.
yeah, he replied to the, I can't remember the title, not
Where's
planning
it?
manager, somebody who's on paternity leave.
It's the AD, like it's starting, I can control the audio and
There's so many people over there.
I'm sure. So how, so is Keys being
Yeah, no, we're being sold.
sold, so,
We're up for sale right now. There's 7 private equity companies that made an initial bid. And now they're all doing their own tours and assessments. And then they all have to have a final bid in by some kind of date. That's the only information I have that's not private. But yeah, they've made their money off of us and they wanna sell and free up some cash. And I just wanna stay there long enough to maybe I might get
This one this
like
afternoon?
1,000th of a
Yeah.
percent,
Yeah.
a little going away present, so.
Makes you wonder.
There was a little.
do they have a deadline in mind?
They want everybody to have their stuff in
Quick enough, hey, we're coming back.
by March 31st.
Interesting.
Okay, that is hilarious. Okay, I'm ready.
Valentine's Day.
Come on. No audio. Oh, look at that. That's cute with the candy,
Little
the
candy hearts
Valentine.
all around it.
So did they do that or did they?
Yeah,
Themselves or
I think
take her
Samantha
somewhere?
did it, yeah, she did it herself.
Get here early, you
Online
do.
reference.
Oh. Okay, that is adorable. She's got some more hair. I think the one photo I saw, it was more
Don't get she
light.
had pretty good hair all along, but maybe it wasn't
Okay.
straightened up. Yeah, she came in with a full. There was one other that was cute.
That's awesome.
She likes her.
Oh, she's smiling now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
She's getting a personality.
Yeah. This is my dog.
Start with opinions next.
Not my dog, my grand dog.
Her granddaughter.
He was helping me roast coffee, so that was a little stressful to watch me roast coffee. That wasn't one.
Aww.
Floating in until the water gets cold.
You know, one of my cutest pictures, the cutest pictures I have of my oldest kiddo, when he was probably that age when my parents lived out in the Ravenswood area, is a picture of him in her sink in the kitchen. She was giving him a bath, and, you know, they had a big sink, and that's what she was giving him a bath, and that's one of my cutest pictures I have.
All systems go, Brandon?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
I'll double check.
wild is that?
I know, I was
Hey,
already
we
like.
are, I know the YouTube's working,
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
pretty sure they go to
I
You asked,
don't-
you were here?
Is
Can I grab
that supporting the
Oh,
same
yeah,
way
sorry.
you supported me in the past after meetings?
We'll talk about that after. Sorry, I thought you had it up there.
Oh.
There was, sometimes I thought there was two. There's like, the Jillian.
There's two guys.
Yeah, maybe that's what.
Well, I just wanted to, yeah, I remember you from
Yeah.
earlier meetings.
Yeah.
I need to. I'm
I
sure.
show up every now and then. So I'll reach out.
Oh, how's things going, Mike?
Well,
I've got a.
pretty good.
That's an appointment.
Pretty good.
I'll be reaching
We got a little weather coming in this weekend, but it looks like.
Yeah, I heard that.
So, and then,
We just haven't had winter.
Yeah, I
We
know.
really haven't had it.
I appreciate.
Yeah, I heard we could have a little snow Saturday.
Man, we had that cold snap in December,
Yeah, that's about it.
and it looks like we're gonna get 2.5 days now, and then right back into the 50s and
yeah.
60s.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the
Yeah.
temperature when I
Yeah.
walked back out
Had,
to see.
I mean, I've done that for a
I
long
think,
time.
My wife's getting excited
So,
because
see
the
all
green
the way
stuff's
from
coming
the
up in there, all
beginning
her,
all the way through
some
the
of her
end.
plants
Oh,
are coming
really?
up in the backyard
Well,
after this last week.
thanks for.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing here, Joe. My wife
Absolutely.
went out and we saw
Look
it,
forward to talking
sprouts
to you.
coming up.
She's
Like, you
retired,
better
I'm
get
getting
your
retired
planters
next
ready
month,
to
so
cover 'em
I mean,
up.
it's something I
Yeah.
always wish I could have done when I was younger, but when you're kids and all this
Yeah, I
stuff's
should
going
be
on,
back, Mike,
people
to make the
complain,
bus
but they don't
on
do anything.
Monday.
It's
Yeah,
like, so no,
12:45.
Yeah, I moved my
That's why I'm
Pay
gonna.
more attention to it.
appointment from
You
11 all the way up till 8.
I'm doing.
Oh,
it.
45 or
So, I'll be
11:45?
over there at the hospital at 8.
7:45.
I got a little counter that says
So I should
count
make it
down.
back
It's like
over
tomorrow.
there.
Yeah. Bus is out at
Yeah.
11.
12:45,
No, wait a minute.
and you'll be standing here.
So I'll hurry along as soon as I can.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
I should be here.
Turned cold.
Bus?
We do.
Yeah, and like,
22-person.
Jay and I were laughing.
Not above, we have a coach.
The Schloffers.
Coach, yeah.
Yeah, I
No-
did.
no
I
yellow
was worried he
school
was
bus.
gonna say party bus.
The day they were putting them up, it was so interesting. It was that.
Now that is.
Real frail, like, older people that were trying to put it.
Oh,
Jay said he came this close to go over and help them, because they were trying to put it in, and they fall over. It's always windy here. It's just when it's a little wrong. Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, oh, and that, it was the next guy.
Scorecards.
It was her birthday, we went to dinner, went to take her to dinner.
Both of you were here.
Those bets, like $1 per person was gone or something.
No,
But they were all still there, but they were.
I see, it's like,
I thought they were we were gonna do a paper airplane cut.
that would be more entertaining.
Oh, yeah, I could go.
I like that idea.
I know.
Are we making any progress?
I know, that's what I'm saying right now.
Simplification or, this room, did you?
Oh, the gaming stuff. The only thing we did is we bought just dongles that connect to a laptop, plug into an HP laptop, and just TV.
Their oldest,
Just
you know,
wire
their
this
youngest,
thing.
almost
Is that what you did, doing upstairs as well, there, get rid of all that?
Yeah, yeah, we haven't done anything with that, yeah. That upstairs. Yeah, I mean, we have those real nice cameras in there, but then we need that system. Because right now, we can't just go through situations with these cameras. And really nice sound. You're in.
Hey, guys.
I'm good.
Hey, Joe.
You know, I
How you doing?
Oh, yeah.
You would.
I would have thought that would do it.
What? You can.
I said, that's just like this.
There's that Wagoneer this weekend?
And I think they can see it. I gotta really.
Remember if I had it, I think I had that one.
Sometimes. You know, and I just.
I need to
Once
work
go
on
back in, when.
my tailgate windows, they're pretty bent up.
Oh, yeah.
Always something.
I did some carbon clean out on Monday. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it's getting that season.
How you doing?
This is my go, hey, why don't y'all just bring something for your own kid? Exactly.
That's how it worked.
Can we just do that? I mean, it was just.
Council meeting.
That's exactly. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for the scrap paper.
No,
Of course.
Years.
Try to pay attention.
88 and 13.
That's the goal.
I'm doing a little bit of, I had it up on one show. Sure, Riz.
Oh, there's some? Yeah, there's some. They're probably just sitting up there. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
Hi. How are you doing? I'm doing good.
So this was my best friend's dad's car. We never got to cruise it. Oh, yeah.
I had a gym to sit there. So you knew it, and I'll be real. You wanted to see this, but you were looking for it.
It was, yes, because I had to make it.
And at the end of the year, we always had done some demolished entire buffet.
Getting cold out there.
I like that.
Go my golf carts. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got a heater on that thing? You got a heater on that thing?
Me?
Yeah.
We got it in the enclosure, so yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
I know, it popped up, I was standing in the hall just waiting for it
Nope.
to.
I'm moving. I was just looking for this. That's what I was looking for.
I mean, if you're under 50,000.
Yeah. I'm just gonna slide.
Yeah, you're quick.
Really good.
Probably better. It's going to.
Yeah, and it's just a 3.5. 5.7 and 350.
Got it. Okay. Much more desirable.
Oh, secret conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, the YouTube videos go. Never mind.
Mike, Nope.
We need a lot of help during that week.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Maybe help
Did you see that, Jay?
Because we have all our committee chairs are already full. But yeah, we can always use extra hands and runners during the week.
Good. Yeah, I went to the.
Reach out to you.
What you think of the presentation?
When that time is.
I thought it was really good.
I mean, that was fine.
You did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was funny.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He'd be good in front of the ladies.
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
That's true.
Connect.
I did, that's why I turned around and looked the other way.
I know, you know what? Can we get folks like him?
And then I was gonna have more.
Yes, sir.
Be a legislator?
It's actually right in front, you know where Maite sits? Right in front of her. Maite, right in front of the office. And you walk in and then go to the.
Yeah.
Right in front of. Oh. They got moved.
But it is.
So I can go in there after the meeting.
I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe you came to that. That's what I did. Sorry, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, nice to see you. What's it?
How you doing?
No, not too bad. This is.
I had to see it.
There's one runner around.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not a shot fair now.
Our public meeting.
Yeah,
about noon, it was really nice.
Why don't I?
Went back down to
Okay.
2:30, 3 o'clock. Cool.
Yeah, my wife, she was with my granddaughter for her birthday and they were out and everything. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I went out and one day, and you guys thought it was cold.
I know.
Park outside.
It happened within an hour or two.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yes. Those gear changes.
Aren't you guys lucky? I just got my voice back. A little bit yesterday, a couple days, and the voice. Sore throat. Yeah. I don't know if I might have a sore throat or not. Jay never knows.
That doesn't sound.
He had to sign all this stuff off and get it and everything, I was like, so, because I started to get on Thursday, and it's really hurt. I was like, and I swear. I'll have to find out the name of it. It's in the- It comes with a book, Excel number.
You just joined.
No, I'm enjoying it.
Joe, is your audio on?
It's always on.
My audio on? I do hear you.
I went outside on my lunch break when I was like sitting in my car doing phone calls, burning up in my car. Like I didn't turn it on or anything, it was burning up. Then I left one and I was like, what is this? This was like 4 months today. Big cold. I'm over it. After this week, we got a taste of that nice water.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the February 19th DeSoto City Council meeting to order, please. We'll start with roll call.
Lane,
Here.
Patterson,
Here.
Sabo,
Here.
McMoran,
Here.
Bradley. Here. All are present.
All right, I would invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item on the agenda tonight is our consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have item A, approved minutes from the February 5th City Council meeting. Item B, approved pay ordinance number 1013. Item C, approved dates for the 2026 city town halls. Item D, approved revised agreement with iWork Systems, Inc. And item E, approved change order number 1 with Toshiba for the records digitalization project. Is there any item anyone would wish to remove for further discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Sabo.
Yes.
McMorgan.
Yes.
Bradley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 2 is called to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. There is a 4-minute time limit. Does anyone wish to address the council under call to public? All right, I'm not seeing anybody. Item 3 is old business, and we don't have any, so we'll go to item 4A. Consider purchase and installation of shade structure.
All right, good evening.
Jay, would you mind pulling that microphone up to you a little closer?
Yep.
Thank you.
Good, all right. Here to pass along a recommendation by the Park Board. This year, for 2026, the board has $30,000 dedicated to them and for either upgrades or additions to the park system. And the board talked about multiple projects in the months of November, January, and February at the regular meetings. And at the February meeting, they voted to recommend purchase and installation of a shade structure that would cover the first base bleachers on Miller Park B field. This location was selected due to the lack of trees and shade versus the other bleacher locations, if you're familiar with the other fields at the park. We received bids from 4 different companies, 3 of them on the materials themselves and 3 on the installation. And the recommendation is for council to authorize staff to purchase the materials from Shade Systems and contract with Cloverleaf Incorporated for the installation. Just a little side note, we've worked with Cloverleaf in the past on, was it last year or the year before, when we had a lot of new installation of playground equipment at Miller Park, so we're familiar with them. Stand for any questions that you may have.
Okay, any
this
questions
project?
for Jay on the shade structure, purchase and installation?
Jay, I have a question for you. Can you describe the actual part of the shade structure itself, what it's
Okay.
made out of? Is there maintenance that's going to be required for that? And does it need to be taken down in the winter, kept out of harsh environment?
Yeah, typically, well, if you've been to the Aquatic Center, it's the material is similar to that mesh material. So it would be a steel post system with the mesh material, which can be taken down and should be taken down in the off season to prolong the life of it. Also can be, depending on how dirty it gets, if not an annual pressure wash, soap with some soap and water, some chemical to kind of keep it clean. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Danny?
Is the top of it like a sailcloth,
It's a,
nylon?
call it it's a mesh material. It's a fabric, but kind of like, I'm trying to just think of what I could compare it to? Have you seen the windscreen that we put on our ball field fences? The windscreen on the outfield fence? So it's that similar type of mesh material that does allow, you know, if you get a good gust of wind, it's not going to just take off. So it's a kind of an open weave, I guess you could call it, material.
So it actually lets rain drip through?
Well,
Or
you might get some drips, but I mean, you're not getting the rain, but yeah, you might get a little bit of moisture. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So it does have a little give and play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid for shade systems, in the amount of $18,919, and Cloverleaf Incorporated, in the amount of $10,950.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Bradley,
Yes.
McMoran,
Yes.
Sabo,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Item B, CIP discussion.
Yes, council. This item's on the agenda tonight after better part of last year we spent compiling the current version of the CIP, which really was an overhaul of a previous effort. Obviously, every year it's kind of a 5-year rolling plan, but we kind of wanted to take a complete reset on the CIP. So we spent a good part of last year identifying projects between staff and the community and going out to the community, getting feedback in several forums on desirability for the projects, and we're able to rank those. If you'll remember, we came up kind of with several categories of projects. One would be, we called them mandatory projects. Those were ones that we're already working on and had already had funding sources, and we just need to complete, but they still need to stay in the CIP because of the funding allocation. Another were pipeline projects, and these were the bigger efforts, the three of them, 83rd Street Corridor, the Community Center, and the 95th Street Corridor. Those were the pipeline projects, understanding those are larger scope and take several years to implement. And then we have top priority projects, which kind of resulted from the community, the feedback, and the prioritization of the projects that had been suggested throughout the year. So for way of background in the staff memo, I included the website page that we have on that, a couple of staff memos. The last time we really discussed this was in December, and we went over some projects there, and we went over some different funding arrangement for the different projects. Since then, we've had members of the community attend a council meeting or two, expressing their disapproval of one project, particularly the Corliss Road Rec Path. So based on that, we've removed that. We'll get to that a little bit later. So what I have compiled really for tonight is just kind of a summary of that, but it's in raw form. And what I hope to reach tonight is some consensus of the general projects, the funding plans for those projects, and the general scope and pace of implementation for each one of those. Again, this is kind of in raw form, and with your direction and consent tonight, we'd like to be able to wrap this up into a single document that kind of articulates the process that we've been through, and lays these out kind of for public consumption. I would say this is kind of a technical document that you've got in front of you here. If you love spreadsheets, you'll like it. If they make your eyes cross, then your eyes will be crossed. But I kind of like to get general consensus moving forward, because we have a couple of things that actually, a couple of them later on in the agenda that are kind of contingent on agreement about some of these projects. So in general, what I tried to do, we all know that when you start a capital improvement process, you're going to have more projects than funding availability, and you're going to have different priorities about when things are timed and all the rest. So what I hope that we were able to do, especially considering kind of the rapidly changing landscape of what our budget is now and what it's likely to be in the future, what our needs are now and what our needs are in the future, and just the diversity of potential projects that we have for consideration. I hope that the plan that we have in front of you does several things. First of all, it gets these pipeline projects going and builds momentum, so there's funding in here for the early phases of those, whether it's maybe acquiring some land or acquiring right-of-way or preliminary engineering or pursuing outside funding sources. There's funding for those, so that those projects we can recognize meaningful implementation steps and help build momentum for those projects going forward. I think it also immediately implements some of the smaller stuff, some of the easier target stuff, so that we can start putting projects to work for the folks, and there could be some immediate tangible benefit for the community. It also delays some of the larger debt issuances for a year or two until we can get a little better picture of our revenue streams, considering economic development and other opportunities going on. And it also clearly defines a funding plan for some of those larger projects. So with that, I'll kind of start in. I do kind of need to go over some specifics about some of those projects, specifically really the 26 and 27 sort of allocations that are in here. I don't know if you remember, but when we formulated the 26 budget, we kind of threw a placeholder in there on CIP expenditures, because we really did. We knew we were halfway through this process, and we really didn't know what we wanted to specifically target for 26. Now I hope we are there where we do know that. So we want to take a real close look at the 26 expenses, and we also want to take a real close look at the 27 expenses, because that would be our starting point for the budget discussions as we start this spring. The out years, I'll call them 28 through 31. It's kind of a 6-year project projection, because we're including the current budget year. Those out years, I mean, this is all, of course, subject to future approvals from this body, whether it's a contract for engineering or a pursuit of a grant opportunity or a bid on a particular project. Oh, those are all independent decisions that we will make. This is a planning document at its core. This is not necessarily allocating dollars toward this. But it is important to understand what the plan is, because it does have a few things that we will be tackling real soon in 26 and in the 27 budget. So the first part that I wanted to talk about, so just for reference there, I'll just breeze through, we'll have just a quick look at these exhibits to the staff report. Exhibit A is, you might, and I know you can't see it on the screen, so I don't mean to belabor it, but this is an articulation of the new projects that we submitted to the community and we discussed as a council and we prioritized specifically. These aren't projects that are currently ongoing, but these are the project, we call them top priority projects, because these are the ones that rose to the top of that discussion. This is the category under which the Corliss Road multi-use path was identified based on those public feedback surveys. It just ranked higher than some of the others, but it was at the bottom of this list. You'll see it's still shown there, but it's crossed out. So the funding for that and implementation of that is not recommended. Exhibit B contains the mandatory projects that we talked about. Again, these are the ones that are either necessary because of critical infrastructure component will fail and will be faced with an emergency repair if we don't address these, or they're already funded and they're already planned and they're already being. So that's Exhibit B. Exhibit C really, and again, I'll apologize again for this spreadsheet sort of focused on this. I know it's not the most polished thing, but Exhibit C really is what I would like to get some consensus moving forward with. This is our 5-year projection for the Capital Improvements Fund, and it really represents kind of the fundamental mechanisms of what the CIP is. The first several sections talk about funding sources. So the funding sources are broken down into reoccurring funding sources. These are the ones that happen every year. Each year we get excise tax. Each year we transfer money from special highway funds and parks funds, and some other sources with just ongoing annual revenue streams. They tend to be on the smaller side because we get them every year. The second box is one-time funding sources, and these are things, primarily grants, that we get for particular projects. So we have identified several one-time funding sources within that category, and then the last one is bonds. So with regard to the one-time sources, we'll see within the project implementation, in the one-time sources we have sources that are already in the CIP in black text, but then new sources are in gray text. And that includes $3.2 million for implementation of a small part of the 83rd Street Corridor project. It includes $13 million for outside funding sources for the construction of the 95th Street project, which is one of our pipeline projects. And it includes $500,000 of an EPA grant that we were actually awarded for the Astor Water Tower but didn't use, and now we would like to reallocate those, and there's a process to do that, and with council's approval we can implement that process, reallocate that to another project, which is the 82nd Street Force Main improvements. So those are kind of the outside one-time funding sources. Under bonds, we are showing, of course, the existing bonds that we already have in place, but then there are future proposed bonding sources. It's a couple categories on that. The first category is general obligation debt, and these are the ones that could be authorized to fund general public improvements that don't require a voter approval. And largely those are anything that's not Parks and Rec related. If you're going to bond, typically, if you're going to bond for park and recreation improvements, you have to have a vote authorizing that. So this first category would just be regular general obligation debt issued by the city. And I'm suggesting a total to fund the program of $8.5 million of that type of debt. The first issuance would happen next year, and then the second would be in 28, and then the last one would be in 2030. So that's the plan on that. The second category is the potential Parks and Rec general obligation debt. Now this is the one that would have to be voter approved, and we're showing $5.1 million GO debt in 2029 for that. And largely this would fund the linear improvements, the trail improvements that were prioritized from the community that we'll look at a little bit later. The last thing in terms of GO debt I'm showing is a $13.5 million general obligation debt to fund the community center. So I'm showing that as a specific debt issuance in the out years as we work through the community center master plan this year. Identify, of course, we're going to work toward funding solutions that will, a variety of funding solutions for that. My expectation would be grants and in-kind contributions and partnerships, and maybe I think it will be a combination of all of those. But so that is specifically listed here. And we'll see as we work through the paperwork here that these debt issuance have an impact on the future debt service mills. And the impact of the capital improvement, if we just look at that, is relatively minimal. But impacts of something like a $13.5 million or a $5.1 million would certainly have to be accommodated by default by a mill levy increase of some sort. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. So those are the funding sources as we've shown them there on the table. And I want to go back then, bear with me, to the spreadsheet here because it talks about the bond. So talk about the bond and its impact on the debt service fund. So this is a 5-year projection for the debt service fund, and it shows the impact of those $8.5 million in regular general obligation debt to fund the kind of the regular public improvements. This doesn't include the $5.1 million in Parks and Rec, and also wouldn't include any community center debt. So what I'm showing here is the fund balance in the debt service fund. The debt service fund gets a portion of its funding from sales tax revenues. And you know, if you've been around the last several years, we know that those have soared recently. And as a result, by the end of 2025, we have quite a healthy balance of reserves in the debt service fund, over $2.5 million. And so you can see that we could implement this sort of a financing structure over the years indicated without a whole lot of impact to the mill. In this scenario, the mill would raise from 1.4 mils to about 1.8 mils by the end of the projection period. So not a horrible impact, still some, but not. You know, the impact of that sales tax on the debt service fund is very beneficial. And this is the sort of thing that we we talk about when we talk about the benefits of economic development and how that funds in the general fund. You know, being able to issue $8.5 million of debt over the next 5 or 6 years without a drastic impact to the mill levy is something of note. We already talked about the other debt issuances then, so the $5.1 million for parks improvements would fund these linear improvements, the Kill Creek Road pedestrian path, that would be from 83rd down to K10 or 95th, parking lot at Riverfest, Miller Park restrooms, a small amount for Lexington Commerce Park development, and then a multi-use path along 83rd Street. So those two larger linear projects would be funded by that. And then we also talked about the community center land debt issuance there as well. So that's kind of the revenue picture. I want to step through. I hate to be too long-winded, and I hate to be too one-directional. So if anybody has any questions or comments or thoughts, you know, as we go through this, happy to have those.
Sorry.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Can we stay with the revenue for a second?
Yeah.
And talk about that, because you talked about the GO bond. So the P25, the 83rd Street multi-use path, Laramie to Corliss.
Yeah.
If we bond that before the engineering is done for the 83rd Street expansion, is that not kind of putting the cart before the horse if we don't have the road engineered yet?
Well, sure. So there's a very good argument to make that if you're going to improve that section of 83rd Street, why don't you include it with that? For these purposes, it could be done standalone. The thought would be that, I mean, this might be adjacent to the road, but it might be off the roadway some distance. But that's a good point, depending on the timing of when the engineering would happen, because we really don't have any really good feel for what segment of the 83rd Street pipeline project is going to be prioritized. You know, that I think the general assumption would be that we might prioritize the section closest to K10, but that's not necessarily the case if you have a safety issue somewhere else. So good point that the GO bond, and of course, you know, this $5 million GO bond happens in 2021. So there's room, I mean, there's time to figure that out. So that's a good point. A lot of these have those sorts of tie-ins with other projects. So that's the other thing about the CIPs, implementation there.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's talk about then the expenses, and I want to just talk primarily about 26, 27, and we'll hit the highlights on the rest. So in your staff report, these are color-coded, and they're color-coded in the spreadsheet too. These ones in purple are the pipeline ones. Those are the three, the 95th, 83rd Street, and the community center. The orange ones are street pedestrian projects, blue are water projects, green Parks and Rec, and then gray are facilities. So when we look at 2026, Again, this is current year, so this is what we'll be spending our resources and time with this year. We got $50,000 in there for preliminary engineering on the 83rd Street corridor. $179,500 for the community center master plan, and actually that's already started implementation. And then $25,000 in there for a land purchase option on the community center. So those are the pipeline projects. Within the street category, there's $2.6 million for the 83rd Street bridge construction. This is the one that's kind of been delayed and held up because of some disagreements with KDOT about vertical clearances. It's probably a discussion for a later time, but Joe's found out recently that we did get funding through the Mid-America Regional Council for this, and they have extra funding to spend, and they're looking to spend extra money on projects that are kind of ready to go. So this one might get an additional infusion of cash that may allow us to meet that clearance requirement without impacting our bottom line. So that's, regardless, the 2.6 would be the plan as we have most recently presented it, which would be kind of at the same a little higher than it is now, but not a drastic raising of the bridge. We have $160,000, and you'll see this in all the years. It's the annual sidewalk replacement program. That's up from $100,000. No, it's up from $80,000 or 60. What was it? It was 60.
Yeah.
So we've increased this substantially. Sidewalk replacement program. We're familiar with that. $100,000 for the annual CDBG projects. You'll see that in each one. There's $150,000 to look at heated storage bay at the Public Works facility. $650,000 for 89th Street culvert replacement. This is just east of Kill Creek Road, that one-lane box culvert that's there now. $300,000 for the design of 95th Street Kill Creek Bridge rehab. The bridge there over 95th, the deck is just falling apart and needs to be replaced. So we would design that this year. It would be constructed in 27. $150,000 for the downtown streetscape project. So this is, again, we're beginning implementation of this. This is really for the master plan of that. And you'll see in the subsequent years, we've got kind of a trickling of six-figure allocations for the downtown streetscape project, knowing that the results of the plan are going to kind of guide that, but also understanding that we want to implement some form of improvements and enhancements sooner rather than later, rather than waiting for the entire thing. There might be opportunities to do that as we go. $125,000 for a Lexington Avenue lighting projects. It would be kind of similar to the one from Commerce Drive to light kind of the darker sections along Lexington. And that is the street and road projects. For the water, we got $1.9 million to build Waverly Water Tower. So that one's been designed, and we're going to be building that this year. There's $400,000 for a water line project along 103rd Street, and it's shown as a betterment. This line is already in. KDOT, when KDOT was redoing the road, we had an 8-inch line there, and we wanted to upsize it to a 12-inch. So they did that, but we had to pay the upsize cost. So we agreed to do that years ago. They haven't sent us the bill yet, so we're just holding on to the money. So in the event the bill comes this year, we'll have the money to pay. $1.9 million for the soccer field project. So this is later in our agenda. We've increased that funding level from previously it was 1.2. We have done, and I don't want to steal any thunder. Brandon and Jay have just worked so hard on this project, trying to figure out ways to implement what we need to do at the cost that we can live with. We really thought we could make it a lot better than that. The fact of the matter is, the work that has to be done costs this much. So I'll leave that discussion for later.
Can we back up a minute?
We can.
That up above there on the bay that you were talking about,
Yeah.
the heated storage bay,
Yeah.
is that the wash station that we were wanting out there?
So yeah, I think what we need to do on this one. So there's kind of two projects. There's a wash bay, and then a heated storage bay that we want to do. This money is not enough to do either one, but it is enough to plan, because there's also some drainage improvements that we want to do inside the building that require a grease trap, and So there's some improvements that we need to make there. So this money really, I think, will go this year toward designing that, get a better feel for the scope and scale and location of those projects, so that we can readjust and come back with a.
So it's really
overall
two
plan.
things in one.
This is kind of 2 or 3 things in one. Yeah. This money won't be enough for a heated wash bay. It won't. That money's enough to plan and get a really good design and a good plan to move forward with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm going pretty quick, so we can do that. Okay, where were we? 150 grand this year for some playground equipment at the Riverfest Park. So that's under Parks and Rec. So under facilities, the only thing we have is 770 grand for the renovation of City Hall. That's just finishing up this project, just the rest of the invoices that'll come through. In the road projects, 1.3 million as the city match for the 103rd and Lexington project. So this again is our portion of the work, the $82 million that KDOT's already did, that's already there. We committed through an agreement with KDOT that we would pay that. The bill hasn't come yet, so we haven't paid it. So that's in there. Same with the $2 million for the CARS allocation. So the county essentially committed $2 million in CARS funding for that project, but that gets funneled through us. We haven't got the bill yet. We haven't got this CARS funding, but when we do, it'll be an in, it'll be an out, but we're just budging it. First, to remind us that we owe it, so we gotta leave it in there, and second, in the event that it occurs. And then on the, I guess there's another facilities here, Riverfest monument sign that's already there. I think there's still some outstanding bills on that we just need to finish up. So that's the 26 program in a nutshell. Like I said, some of these we're already implementing, and the rest are on slate. I would say it's pretty ambitious, for the staff that we have here. So then 27, just kind of quickly, I don't want to belabor too much of this. I know we don't want to spend too long. So 27 on the pipeline projects, 200 grand for preliminary engineering in pursuit of outside funding sources for 83rd Street. $250,000 for, again, this is another part of 83rd Street, design of intersection improvements, potentially at Lexington and Penner. So, and again, this one certainly could change based on what we find out in some preliminary engineering. Pursuit of outside funding sources might direct this. If we find a funding source that can help us out with a particular intersection, and it's not this one, we may switch gears here. But regardless, this is the design of that intersection, and again, I think it's a meaningful commitment toward implementation of that overall pipeline project. There's $750,000 in here for a traffic signal at 95th and West. I think we've recognized the need there for a signalization of that interchange. Folks trying to turn left out of that, really at any time during the day, it's tough. So that's estimated at 750 grand. There's, and again, I'm calling this pipeline because it's kind of part of the 95th Street corridor, which, remember, would kind of completely update 95th Street from Lexington Avenue to Sunflower Road, including a traffic signal at that intersection there. There's also $500,000 for design and right-of-way acquisition of that stretch of that project. And there's $200,000 for, again, incremental progress toward the community center design effort for that in 27. So under road projects, we got $1.5 million for the construction of the 83rd Street Bridge. So that would be a multi-year project there that would be going on. Again, 160 grand for sidewalks, 100 grand for CDBG. We have 1.2 million for the construction of the 95th Street Bridge over Kill Creek, the one that needs rehabbed. Design it 26, build it next year. And then again, $100,000 for downtown streetscape to kind of keep momentum going there. There's 700 grand for the replacement of the force main along 82nd Street. You might remember there's a sewer force main that runs from the main lift station down by Engineered Air all the way out to the wastewater treatment plant on 79th Street. A portion of that main has been failing, and we replaced several blocks of that along 83rd Street between Ottawa and about John E. Replaced it a couple years ago. Well, the rest up the windup needs to be replaced as well. So this would fund that project. And remember, this is the one we would like to switch the grant application, the 500 grand from the Astor Water Tower, switch it to this project. It won't fully cover it, but we think from EPA's perspective, this is a really, I mean, that should be a really attractive project for them. A couple of parks projects too, so there's 300 grand for a splash pad at Miller Park, and then 875 grand for restrooms and concessions at Riverfest. So these would be in accordance with the master plan for that. These would be augmenting the soccer field effort that we're embarking on this year. So those, yeah.
Questions on it.
Oh, yeah.
So, you mentioned earlier about the MARC money going towards really ready-to-go projects, ones that have completed preliminary engineering or completed design phase. They tend to award money more towards projects that are closer to implementation. I see, we've got $200,000 next year for preliminary engineering and pursuit of funding for the 83rd Street Corridor project. Is there a disadvantage to proceeding with preliminary engineering this year? Because it seems like the earlier you get that done, the more likely you are to get money for it. And seeing the growth happening, it seems like that would be a priority.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all. So, really, when you're talking about sliding years, you just have to look at the fund balance, and we're good, right? I mean, if you look at the fund balance this year, I think we're going to wind up a little over $2 million in the CIP. So, sliding a couple $100 grand, I think would, the only kind of reservation one might have is just staff resources and time to dedicate to devote toward that. But if that's the direction the council wants to go, we'll certainly make that adjustment. So you would think from 27, instead of having, I missed it.
200,000.
Instead of having this 200 grand from 27, just move that up to add it to the 26 effort.
Yeah, overall my thinking on it is that as we see this growth happening, 83rd Street I think has to be a priority. As we talked about, eventually K10 is going to be a project. We know it's a known project for KDOT to rework K10, and if we have both of those going at the same time, that's going to be a disaster. So I think the sooner we can get the preliminary engineering done so that we're eligible, and I know that there's certain grants at the state and federal level that require you to be 30, 60, 100% whatever done with your preliminary engineering in order to receive that money, that if we have that done, we're not missing out on opportunities to have it funded by somebody else.
I think with the MARC funding, we're probably in a pretty good shape already, having done the study through them, but you're right, for other potential funding sources, closer you are to shovel ready, certainly can put a priority on a project through some other FHWA funding that's happened in the past and some one-time programs as well.
Hard to argue that. So we have 50 grand in for 26. We just make it 250. Very good.
I like that idea.
All right. Okay, so I said I wasn't belabor really the 28 through 31. The lists here for your consideration there. If you want to talk about any of those, happy to do that. Again, what we're asking for tonight is general consensus that kind of this plan that I've laid out, the one that's shown in all these crazy spreadsheets I throw in front of you, is one the council supports, and that'll allow me to formulate the full document, which I think we probably should adopt by a resolution. So as soon as we can get that back.
I agree. I should have a question, and it's not in opposition, but the K10 monument signage, could you describe that a little for people who might not be familiar with it?
Going to say the same thing.
Yeah, so we've had an effort. I think this one has been on the CIP in some manner since I started working here in 2000. There's some desire to provide some sort of city signage out out by the highway. If Eudora did one a couple years ago. It just looks great.
Well,
And we've had plans. I can bring the plans. We've gone as far as to have bids and.
we were at the point of actually awarding. We
Yeah.
came in about 10,000 over the bid, or over the estimate in,
Yeah.
that would be 2010 about.
That sounds about right.
When we bid it, we had the design done, maybe 10,000, and times were tough then, and 10,000 was a lot of money, and the project didn't go forward.
It was, and I don't know if you've seen the renderings, but I mean, it's hard to explain. But it's a monument sign you can see from the highway. The location was pretty much where Burn-In's Barbecue is, but in the KDOT right of way. So we get permission from KDOT to do that. That's the general intent. I think it's probably worth another look, as to location and size and scale and scope and that. So yeah, I don't know how much more detail I've got on that.
I see it's in 2028, so another couple of years.
Yeah, we have a couple
It's
years.
just, and then when you mentioned it's been discussed since that many years ago.
It really has, yeah.
And it was, as I recall, it was about a $75,000 project in 2010.
Yeah.
That was about 10,000 over the project estimate. So we had estimated like 65. The bid came in about 75 or 80, and we didn't build it. And now you can see it's a $200,000 estimate.
Well, things don't seem to get cheaper.
They do not.
To Rhonda's point about doing it sooner from 28, and I know we have the downtown streetscape programmed in there. Just from my observation, it seems like the monument would go before we did that because it's, or maybe not, I don't know. Is there some reason why we have one before the other or not? Is it?
Not really. At a certain point, you kind of stop programming this based on the dollars, and you start thinking about resources, to put toward effort. So there's some of that. So there's no magic to it. We can slide this. We can slide it up or back if that's the desire. We can certainly do that.
I would say as far as the downtown streetscape, sorry about my voice. That also, I know I've seen information back to 2014 where that's going to be done. So I do think that is a priority outside of even other infrastructure things. I think that's something that has been on the list for a long time. And as long as we can at least get started and get some minor things done that provide celebrating the public and I just think, I think the downtown streetscape should definitely still be a priority in addition to some of the other must-haves, I guess.
Okay.
So do we want to slide the monument sign up a year or two, or where it's at?
I'd move it up at least 1 year.
Yeah, I agree with that, at least one.
Very good. We'll
Every
do it.
time I drive to Lawrence and go through your door, I just shake my head.
That's a really nice looking sign.
It is a pretty nice looking sign.
And a couple of years ago, Mike, that's, I think because the Eudora sign was up when we were looking at doing our sign in like 2010, so the Eudora sign went up.
Has it been that long?
Oh, God, I'm gonna guess it went up in like 2006 or 7.
No way.
And maybe 8, all right.
Wow. Okay, so we move the monument sign up to 27. We move $200,000 of preliminary 83rd Street up to this year. So those are the two adjustments. Okay, I don't know that I need a motion, but I think general consensus head nod is good enough for me.
So you'll bring back then
Bring back a much less spreadsheet intensive document that
narrative
articulates all
driven,
this.
okay.
It'll talk about what a CIP is and all this.
Okay.
I won't get too long into it, and then we'll,
I just have another clarification question on the 25,000 to finish up the Riverfest monument sign. That doesn't mean there's still work to be done on that. It was just
It's
bills to
the,
be paid.
yeah, it's the,
okay.
there was some issues with the LED lighting if you've been out there. They just fixed it today. I'm gonna go check it, so.
Okay.
I would imagine the next pay ordinance will be the last payment of that.
I was just gonna wonder if there I was just like, what else is there to do?
Sort of tangential to this discussion, and the staff time and work that goes into this. At some point with all of these projects, do we need to consider additional staff at some point to handle this engineering?
You know, that's a larger budget discussion, and we
is,
have been adding staff. We've been adding staff.
Right.
You know, we're adding staff this year. So the answer is yes. I think we have some of it worked in. I think we have most of that worked in. But we might not be over doing that. I appreciate the question because it is something that that concerns us, you know, and me specifically. So I appreciate the question. I think, you know, and we'll address it again during budget time. We can start thinking about that. Yeah, good point.
Okay,
Yes. Thank you, Council.
all right. So with that in hand, we will move on to item C to consider contract with Mid-America Sports Construction for the Riverfest Park Soccer Field Project.
Good evening again. Mike stole most of my thunder
Sorry,
earlier, so somebody smack him for me. But anyway, here before you, give you a little bit of history on the soccer field project. Property-wise, this would be at Riverfest Park on the south side of 79th Street. Just for, sorry, Mike, I didn't. There we go. Just for reference. This project will include a 400 by 400 foot irrigated natural turf soccer field, associated gravel parking lot, and supporting site improvements for the facility. This project we've actually bid twice. First time in the spring of 25, and then again kind of end of 25, early 26. Was the second time we bid this. After the bids came in the first time, kind of sat around with Mike and the mayor and Brandon and Justin and myself of kind of where do we go, and the mayor came up with the idea of reaching out to GBA and changing over to a design build model in terms of a bidding process. Let me back up. The first one was just a standard bidding process, in hopes that we would, get more people interested, and based on means and methods, be able to reduce the cost. Garney did support the project. It kind of as a community service, and Joe was very helpful in this work that had been going on at the water plant. There was extra fill from that project. That I don't know if Joe, if you talked him into it or how it went, but Garney was willing to move materials from there to this soccer field location because we knew we needed to bring the grade up because it's in the floodway. I'm sorry, flood zone. And then a lot of background material that we've attached to try to get everybody up to speed on what's going on with this, what has gone on with this project and where we are. We did receive 2 bids on January 15th for the current bidding cycle. One from Mid-America Sports Construction and one from Heartline Construction. The proposals were evaluated based on qualifications, project approach, and cost. Mid-America submitted the lowest responsive proposal and received the highest median score for the proposals. Spending authority does exist in the CIP. Staff anticipates construction will begin in the spring and be completed by late fall, with the spring of 27 being the first season that we would use those for Parks and Recreation, for our Parks and Recreation Soccer League. Mid-America has worked on athletic fields and site development in the Kansas City region in the past, including grading, drainage, and park infrastructure. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to thank Mayor Walker, Joe, Mike, Brandon, Justin and the Garney team for, assisting with this project. So I won't bore you with all the old history details. This has been in the works for a few years now. A lot of back and forth and trying to figure and all those good things. So it all started with just wanting to provide a nice place for the kids to play soccer. I don't know if you know, right now we basically find anywhere there's green grass, or it could be brown grass, anywhere there's grass. For example, we play at Miller Park, depending on the season, kind of in the open area. We use the ball fields out at Sunflower in the outfields in the fall. We also use the what we call inside the Peanut Road at Riverfest Park, which is also doubles as a parking lot. So just wanting to, we're not asking that this isn't going to be a Garmin or other examples like that, but providing a nice facility for these kids to play. So recommendation is to approve the contract with Mid-America Sports Construction, amount not to exceed $1.845872 million plus a 10% contingency, and authorize the city administrator to execute the contract. If you have any questions,
So just
more than
to
open.
summarize, it gets the play field, the flat play field with irrigation and fencing.
Yes.
It gets a parking lot that is gravel or paved?
Gravel.
So it gets
Yep.
a gravel parking lot. We're not paving it yet.
Right.
And no restrooms, no,
Right, we'll have to use porta pots. Mike's programmed in for 26. No, I'm sorry, this is 26.
so it's just really getting us a playable
Yeah.
field and a place to park so that we can
Right.
facilitate our soccer program.
I'm sorry?
Fencing?
Yeah, it'll be fenced. Yeah.
How many fields is it?
It's a 400 by 400 foot pad. So what we'll do is, depending on the season, how many kids we have, that could be our setup. What we're going to do is rotate to try to keep the grass as nice as possible. So in the fall, try to use an area. In the spring, try to use an area. As we get bigger, that's going to become harder and harder. We're guessing 3/4 of that pad we would probably use per season, and then just try to move things around. Just for example, right now between games and practices, we have 3 fields for PKK, 2 for first and second, and then 1 for 3rd through 8th graders. Is what we set up currently between our practice and our games. That we use multiple sites, as I mentioned earlier.
I have one more question. The amount on the suggested motion and the recommendation of $1,845,872 is a different amount than on page 2 of the design build agreement, which is $1,846,241. Is that just a typo, or is there some reason why they're different amounts? It's not a lot, just kind of trying to figure out.
846,241.
You have the contract,
Yeah. Not sure.
The typo, I mean.
It's up.
I would say that's a typo.
Yeah.
So yes, so apologize, we'll need to use the amount on the contract
Okay.
in the recommendation.
And if you could authorize the mayor to sign we already had the contractor sign the contract, and what they signed has the mayor signing, so.
Any other questions? Okay. Been a long road, hasn't it, Jay?
Yeah, a little windy, a little up and down, yeah.
Ready for a motion?
I move to approve the contract with Mid-America Sports Construction for the Riverfest Park Soccer Field project in an amount not to exceed $1,846,241 as indicated in the design build agreement, plus a 10% contingency, and authorize the city administrator to execute the contract.
The mayor. Slash mayor.
Slash mayor. To execute the contract.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Sabo?
Yes.
McMoran?
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I really appreciate it.
Thank
Kids
you,
will
Jay.
too.
All right. Item D, consider agreement with GBA for the owner's representative services for the Riverfest soccer field project.
Yes, Mayor and Council. This is a follow-up to the soccer field construction project. We are asking permission to hire GBA to be the owner's rep, essentially doing the day-to-day managing of this project. The $32,120 is roughly 2% of the total construction costs, which is kind of in line with the standard of about 3% of total construction costs. What GBA will be doing will be keeping track of the project on a day-to-day basis. They'll review pay requests, help us with any change orders, and answer contract questions. We will be doing the inspection in-house. I would like to thank Joe. He has offered up Walter, our city inspector, to kind of alleviate some of the costs with GBA. So they'll be out there doing the inspection work. But essentially, we're going to be using GBA, who was the contractor that did the design work on this, to manage the day-to-day project. So Jay and I can do our day jobs. If any question, I'll stand for them.
Questions?
So this is essentially serving as a contracting officer's representative for the project. Just going back to what I was asking about, in the future needing staff to manage projects, would this be in line with that if at some point we hire an additional staff to manage?
Yeah, hard to say. Usually on bigger projects, like it's kind of project specific, so you don't tend to hire folks. But yeah, good point.
I just meant more like if we had someone on staff, that
Yeah.
would be something they would do.
Good.
And likely we would have a designer construction phase agreement in any,
Yeah. in a
typically,
normal.
the designer does get some work through the construction phase, just to deal with questions that arise about the plans or different issues that might arise during construction, but yeah. That daily processing, paper, pay orders or pay requests and those like would be could be a staff function. Any other questions?
Is part of their contracting to verify construction is on time?
Yes, so basically to kind of do the day-to-day management of the project.
And it's limited to so many visits?
Yeah, there'll be 14 site visits, 5 hours at a time. It ends up being roughly every 2 to 3 weeks, but there'll be weeks where you might be out there twice, and 1 week, just depending on what's going on.
Okay. Ready for a motion?
I move to approve the contract with Mid-America Sports Construction for the
GBA.
Oh, sorry, GBA. Wrong one. GBA as presented for the Riverfest soccer field project in the amount not to exceed $32,120, and authorize the city administrator to sign the proposal.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
McMoran,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Sabo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item E, consider agreement with the DeSoto Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, Council. For your consideration is an agreement that will really formalize the relationship with the Chamber and EDC that the city has had, at least since I've started. The practice has been annual budget allocations for investments in the Chamber EDC. And last year, when we formulated the budget, realizing the increased importance of Chamber and economic development activities in town, and also realizing that the organization was going through quite a significant restructure and kind of reorganization there, and refocus of its efforts there, we substantially increased that level of commitment from about what had been $90,000 to $190,000. So we have specifically allocated in the 26 budget an amount of $190,000 toward the EDC chamber. And again, that has in the past been kind of an informal allocation. We've typically paid that quarterly based on an invoice that we get from the chamber EDC. And then we've also long had a policy of allocating transient guest tax revenue to the chamber EDC organization. That funding is very specifically curtailed to just economic development tourism activities, and the city doesn't necessarily have a function like that, so we've typically transferred whatever we get, we give to the chamber. So in order to formalize that relationship and recognize the changing and increasing role of that organization after the restructure, we thought it was a good idea to have this agreement before you. This is very typical. Other cities have similar contracts with their chamber and EDC. The contract is there, proposed to Exhibit A. The form of agreement for professional services is kind of our boilerplate that we use for engineering and other consultant services. And then the scope of work is there shown as Exhibit A. And it does articulate all the different things that organization does. And some of these are increases of kind of what has been the practice in the past, but a lot of it is what they've done before. So strongly recommend approval of the contract. And Tim is here and Kevin is here as well. They might want to say a word or two, Mayor, or if not, maybe we just go on.
Okay. Well,
that's having a stand for any question.
Sure. Before we ask them, any questions from council before we?
I do.
Yep.
A couple questions. That would be for Tim or Kevin.
Not necessarily, okay, and it might be for those guys as well, so maybe we want to hear from them first.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just on the scope. Well, first I do like this. I like there's something formalized with that. They have been doing a really good job down there. So I just had a couple questions on the support and facilitate retention and expansion of existing businesses in the city. It does mention conduct annual visits with and collect standardized data from existing city businesses. Would that data be collecting like information to include employees maybe that live in DeSoto to collect that type of information?
Tim, you want to?
Sorry, Tim, putting you to work.
Oh, no. Mayor, Council, appreciate the opportunity to be with you here this evening. Tim Halverson, President of the DeSoto Economic Development Council. You may or may not know the gentleman behind me. Kevin Hanemichael is the 2026 Economic Development Council Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you here and the opportunity to really to formalize this, put some more meat on the bone, if you will. I've been on board for about a year and a half, and I remember going back to my interviewing process, and Mike was in on that. We talked a little bit about scope of service, but formalizing a contract arrangement and such with more deliverables. And we've kind of worked on this and think that this is a good start for the community. But more specifically to your question, Councilwoman Patterson. I don't know if they will release that information, but that is certainly one of the questions that in conversations that I have had and will have with HR directors and leadership of our local employers. We'll certainly be asking that, and then I will obviously I'm protective of that information, but with permission would be willing to share that as appropriate.
Yeah, thank you. I just know a lot of organizations, it seems like companies are talking about how many jobs are going to be available and
Sure.
this and that, and then you wonder, well, how many of those residents here, how many community members are actually applying for one? They don't
Right.
apply, they're not going to
Right.
get the job, but how many might actually work in those companies that we currently have around here. Just-
Exactly, yeah. I know at this point, we have a tremendous amount of in-migration, obviously, which is, certainly good, but understanding that should we have more residents, then we are able to capture more of the dollars, both day, night, and weekends and such.
Sure. And then on, I think it's G. Yeah, the maintain membership and participation with Team Kansas.
Yes.
I was just curious, what type of, it mentions that provide updates on marketing activities to the finance team. I was just curious what
Correct,
maybe
yeah.
marketing activities that would
So
be.
Team Kansas was something that I had been familiar with for several years and was, I think, Mike, the mayor, council members probably got tired of hearing me talk about it last year, that felt like it was important for us to dip our toe in the water in that and to start participating in some of those regional marketing activities. The state of Kansas, they are always touting DeSoto everywhere. Even when, where was I at most recently that, at the announcement of the Chiefs relocation. Got invited over to that, and 2 of the 3 communities that they highlighted, it was DeSoto, because 2 of the 3 projects they highlighted were Merck and Panasonic. So we are top of mind, so this is the time to take advantage of that. And so we did set aside a little bit of money in last year, or in the 2025 budget, to go on a couple of marketing trips. Admittedly, we don't have an extravagant budget. This will actually help us to be able to do more in that regard and participate in some of those networking activities with site selection consultants from around the country. And so after going on those, I usually glean some good information from those and want to share that as appropriate, with the finance team, with the economic development team, so that we can try to learn from it and position ourselves even better going forward.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had a couple more. On H there, explore enrollment in the Kansas Main Street program. Of course, the downtown streetscape is near and dear to my heart. Since it's been on the books for a few years now, to do something down there and really support our local businesses that are there. I'm familiar with the Kansas Main Street program, but I thought maybe might give you an opportunity just to explain maybe a little bit about that for those that aren't maybe familiar with that.
You bet. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. Main Street programs are abundant in small communities throughout the United States. There's a national Main Street program, and we have a strong one here in Kansas that is now being decently funded again after some bumpy years in the 20-odd years, if you will. It is a great resource that I know you and I have actually had some conversations, and other council members, we've talked about it as well, that downtown being the heart of the community, it's important to protect that and develop it, redevelop it, and nurture it. And it's authentic. That's what's so neat about it. You go almost anywhere, and they're building new developments here and there, and they're trying to create something that we already have. Ours just maybe needs a little bit more polish to it. And so I'm excited about this streetscape and such in the downtown. And with the resources of the Main Street program, we need to be able to demonstrate that we're going to have the staffing resources and such. That's your chamber staff and a strong volunteer base to be able to rally resources to be able to implement things. But it would give us access to design capabilities through their program. There used to be, and there are still some, I'm not sure how prevalent they are, facade grant opportunities and such, either through the Kansas Department of Commerce or certain national ones. And so to be able to have access to those would be something that we would intend to really be able to pursue as we go forward, so that the message is conveyed that we, the city of DeSoto, value the downtown and see it as a good place to invest, just like we've done with Astra Enterprise Park, with Flint. And we're doing a great job in terms of that, in terms of our commercial and industrial areas. But there's an opportunity to do that even more, literally, figuratively on our main street, and reinvest there and make it a real destination place. I know you and I've talked about maybe it's the Water Tower District. I still like that one. It is.
Okay.
That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I understand, and I think we see a great return on investment from the funds that we provide to the Chamber of Commerce and EDC.
Thank you.
I did have a question from a constituent that asked, why do we fund it instead of it being completely self-funded by membership? And I mean, I understand why, but if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to explain that.
Yeah. I'm happy to answer, and Kevin, you may have some things to chime in as well. It's hard to grow our membership in DeSoto proper as much as we need to have staffing, programming, to have, all those all those overhead costs, to be able to grow it adequately, and have anything left to be able to take it to the next level. And so it's quite common to do these as public-private partnerships, virtually any community in Johnson County and all over Kansas. There's always that public-private partnership of some sort. And the return on investment, hopefully you see that and realize that times over is what we strive for and hope to grow into. So,
thank you.
If you'd like to.
Yeah, I might chime in a little bit as well. Kevin Hanemichael, 9837 Post Oak Drive. I get to actually do that. It's awesome. I appreciate the opportunity to be back here. Great question. And to that end, I would say that if you think of it rather than funding the chamber, like a chamber member funds the chamber, this is the city of DeSoto's investment in business. So it's the way that you're making sure that there's resources being given available to support local businesses in a variety of ways, as well as attract businesses. So Councilman Bradley kind of relates to some of the questions you've been asking so far about staffing and staffing resources. It's typically not something that would be done in-house, but this method now is contracting out services that the city is providing or needing to make sure that the businesses that are supporting the community overall, providing to the tax base, are given resources to continue to be retained and to grow. So it's both existing businesses, as was asked before, how are we checking to see what local businesses need in terms of leadership development, workforce resources, education and training, other barriers to being able to grow, as well as the sales effort, and that's the economic development side. So it's typically not the city's job to go out and be business developers and salespeople, and that is the economic development entity's role. And to be able to do that, you need good staff, and we're really getting good staff in the chamber now with Tim and with Laura to be able to both focus on business, and I won't say small business because it's multinational, large and small businesses in this community, and make sure that they're successful and engaged. So it's really about your investment in business, both existing and growing, rather than just funding the chamber entity in itself. So just like it's important for the city to do that, you were at the event this morning. It's really important that we're continuing to reinforce with the people who are investing in the chamber and in the EDC that their money is going to provide good staff to support the mission and the objectives of these agencies. So it's truly a public-private partnership. So good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Great explanation.
Any other questions from council? Any comments that you'd like to add? Tim?
just, it has been quite a ride over this past year and a half. And it's been a lot of fun. And I will say I'm learning every day and challenged every day. But it's been an awful lot of fun to work with some great people and to be able to kind of stand on the shoulders of those that have done all the work for all these years and hopefully keep things moving forward. Because I really think that this next decade is going to be an awful lot of fun around DeSoto. I think we're going to see some tremendous growth and some tremendous opportunity. And I hope to play a small part in that. So thank you.
Sorry, we have one follow-up. I just thought of, in accordance with Councilmember Patterson's questioning about the jobs, and I understand the need to keep the proprietary information within the business. However, do you think it'd be possible to get a de-identified aggregate number of employees that live in and out of without identifying them to the business?
If I can get them to give it to me confidentially, yes, then I'm sure we can do that. We can do an aggregate on that if I can get the individual businesses to release that to me.
And I think that would be helpful to assuage some of the concerns that the community has about hiring local.
Right.
I was just thinking about that. Sorry. Thank you very much.
Exactly. All right, thank you, Tim.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Ready for a motion? So motion to approve the agreement and authorize the mayor to sign.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the agreement with the DeSoto Chamber of Commerce and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bradley,
Yes.
Lane, Patterson,
Yes.
McMoran,
Yes.
Sabo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item F, consider letter of support for build grant application for 95th Street rebuild project.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. So this is part of the requirements for the bill grant is for a funding commitment letter from the city to be included with the grant application. As Mike went through the capital improvement program a little earlier, in 2027, we've got about $1.25 million budgeted for 95th Street, $750,000 in a potential traffic signal or a traffic signal at 95th and Lexington, and then $500,000 for design and right-of-way acquisition. So that's where we come up to $1.25 million. Actually having the city put money toward the project also improves the application being reviewed to hopefully be successful. So it's always good when the city is able to participate. Even though the size of our city, we could get 100% of the cost covered by the grant. It always makes it much easier to approve a grant where the city has some skin in the game. So tonight, just asking for council's approval for the letter, the funding grant letter, and authorizing the mayor to sign.
Okay. Questions from council? So have you seen the application? Is it nearly complete, Joe? Have they sent you the package yet?
It should be, I mean, I've seen parts of it, and they've done a really good job.
Okay.
And we'll, based on this, I would provide the letter to them tomorrow, then, and probably tomorrow we would look at submitting it. The due date is February 24th.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much done. This is
Okay.
kind of the final item to wrap it up.
All right. Any other questions? Motion.
No, I support the signature, but I have a question about Brandon, can you guys fix, there's something weird about the letterhead.
The letter.
Kansas is like got a space in the middle of it. It's kind of weird looking on there. Sorry,
I think that's just formatting because it's a.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. I was just saying, like, if, before we send it to them, if we could, fix it.
That's not right.
No. So.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's,
So I'll make a motion that the council authorize the mayor to sign the build grant commitment letter once the letterhead is corrected.
you have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Sabo,
Yes.
McMoran.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item G, consider agreement with iWork System, Inc. for 2026 road assessment project.
Yep, Mayor, Councilmember, thank you. So this was budgeted for 2026, I think 4 years ago. So iWorks is the program we use. It does a lot of our building permits, it does our streets, vehicles. So this piece specific is to look at having them come back out again and do a vehicle and electronics in the vehicle, do a condition assessment of our roadways, at the same time pick up all of our signs and do an assessment of our signs on reflectivity. Then we use this information to look at how we prioritize streets that we're going to repair. And so this was a budget item for 2026. And then I would just ask the council to approve the contract with iWorks in the amount of $29,500 for iWorks and authorize the city administrator to sign. And then we would be looking at here probably in April for them to be in town to do their assessment of our streets and signs.
Okay. Questions from council? Motion.
I move to approve the contract with iWork for the pavement assessment and sign data collection in the amount of $29,500 and authorize the city administrator to sign.
Second it. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
McMoran,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Sabo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item H, discuss process to review and revise economic incentives policy.
Yes, council, just a discussion here tonight, direction forward, I guess, as well. There's been kind of consensus that we need to look at the economic incentive policy. You'll remember the format of that is kind of a map of the whole city, and we have in areas, particular areas identified to incentivize, and then some incentive levels that we were to consider with those. And I think for, at least a year or so, there's a desire to look back at those now, considering the current state of the development in the community and changing priorities. We initially implemented kind of the current version of this in 2000, and we last updated it in 2000. I'm sorry, the initial version was 2020. Sorry, wasn't back that far. 2020, and we did, the last revision we did was 24. And since then, we've completed a strategic plan overhaul, and we've done the Southwest Growth Area Plan. Excuse me. This year, we're set to do a comprehensive plan, so the comprehensive plan document, and a downtown streetscape master plan, which might include some economic development discussions as well. So I think there's agreement that time is now to take another look at this. I think it's going to be a little bit more than just kind of a brush up. So I'm suggesting we kind of get together a committee to look at this and do it on a time frame that parallels the comp plan and maybe the downtown plan, so that we can incorporate some of that into this. I'm taking several months. Of course, we can accelerate if we want it, if we really need to accelerate that. But I just want to open it for discussion. I know, excuse me, there's a desire on the part of the EDC and Chamber to be involved with the discussion from the business development community. Certainly appropriate there. Like your thoughts on other stakeholders for that. The school, the fire district is another one. They're impacted by incentives. So just get some thoughts on that, and maybe some mild arm twisting about who would be interested in serving on a small committee there. No more than 2 council members could join that. So I'll stop there.
Okay. Thoughts from council on membership and membership of the committee and then participation in the committee among the body? So, anyone?
I'll volunteer as tribute.
I think the school district and the fire district, obviously, and our economic development group are certainly great partners to include in discussions about our policy. So appreciate you stepping up. Zach, anyone else want to be part of that? All right. Danny raised his hand, so we have our first two. Schedule-wise, these activities, you think we would initiate
It's kind of up
near
to,
term?
yeah, we'll certainly get started here in the next month or two. But the schedule is kind of up to us. You know, I foresee that the comprehensive plan is going to take, till into the fall to kind of wrap that up. But some of the demographics information, some of the early findings, the community outreach, kind of largely be done by the summer. So I think that process will be able to inform this to the degree that it's going to, probably by the middle of summer. The downtown plan might lag that just a little bit. And that's one, like I said, as Tim was talking when he was talking about downtown Main Street, defining what the physical improvements might look like, that's kind of easy. Harder part is finding ways to incentivize and encourage redevelopment, reinvestment in that, reinvigoration in that way. And then we also have this thing about the old fire station building. We need to figure out what we want to do with that. And so I think just throw that into that plan too. So, that plan's a little less straightforward. That's a long way of saying I'm thinking this effort should probably last through the summer.
Okay.
Unless we just really want to accelerate it.
I think we're the comp plan update, we're at consultant selection now, right?
Yeah, we have,
we've got the
qualification statements now.
Yes.
Yeah, working through that.
Working through that.
And we'll follow that up with a similar, probably consultant selection on the downtown plan in the next month or so. It'll lag a little bit.
Okay. Anything else needed on that at this time?
No, sir.
All right.
No. Okay, thank you.
No executive session tonight, so we will go on to advisory reports. City Administrator, Mike.
Nothing this evening, Mayor, thanks.
City Attorney.
Nothing for me.
City Engineer.
I'm good tonight.
Brandon, what do you got? City.
I will a clean slate. I have nothing.
Okay. Council comments. Joe, you want to start us off?
Sure. I'd like to consider moving our April 16th meeting, as 3 of the council members on that Thursday will be traveling to Salina for a Leaders Academy. Unless you want 3 of us in the
remote
car virtually. So I'd like to suggest moving that possibly to Wednesday the 15th or the following Thursday.
All right. Brandon, any thoughts yet?
Yeah, I looked at the council chambers. I didn't see anything
Okay.
that day. If there's agreement, I'll just throw something on consent like I did the meeting.
So the 15th?
Yeah. That there's nothing on the council chambers that day.
That will still work for everybody? Okay. Thanks, Joe.
That's it.
Okay. Zach?
Yeah, I'm gonna knock on wood for this one. I noticed we didn't have anything again with the City Hall project. So that's 2 meetings in a row. I'm very happy for.
Yeah.
And again, last time, the last meeting I said some stuff, but it was hard to hear. But I wanted to say thank you to the city staff and especially Kim. It's been working very hard on this project. And if you guys haven't been upstairs, I don't know is it open right now for them to walk or?
Yeah, the hall's open, yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, I'd suggest you go upstairs because we've really gotten our money's worth out of it, I think. And it, you know, for a 100-year-old building, thereabouts, they've done a great job, and the building is just, it's fantastic up there. I'm sure that when we're down here, it'll be just as good. And I want to say thanks to the staff for that, making that happen. Aside from that, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Rhonda?
Oh my gosh, my voice. I will be gone on March 19th.
Okay.
That's spring break week. I have a senior, and he's not going along.
All right.
And I just wanted to say thanks to Victoria for everything you've done. I know this is your last meeting, is that correct? So thank you, wish you well with everything personally and professionally. And then just a shout out, I was also able to attend the EDC breakfast this morning. And just a shout out to the EDC crew and the chamber crew for putting that on. Nicely attended, and for those that weren't able to make it, just to give you an idea, the title was Gigawatts, Pipelines, Data Centers, Oh My. So it was very full of information, and if there's potentially the connection to get with the speaker and maybe have him join a council meeting or town hall or something to provide just a little snippet of what he did during that meeting might be educational for everybody involved. I learned a lot, plus I'd love to see the slides again because I've already forgot some of that, so. But that was a great event today.
Can I go back a second and add some?
Yeah, sure.
So I also attended, and one of the things that was interesting was the tour of the data center there over at the Meritex complex, and the one of the things very noticeable is the lack of noticeable noise, I thought. Now, when you're in the switchgear room, which is a noisy place because the electrical stuff in there, it's kind of loud, but outside of the switchgear room, there's no noise. And outside the facility, there was very, very little noise. And one of the things that we were offered by the facility staff was that at some point, if there is interest, we can arrange for community to visit their facility. They're very open and very welcoming folks there, and their local business. I mean, they're in Lenexa, but they're local. And I think that it's a great opportunity for people. If at some point there's interest in the community to see it, we could probably work with them on that. If people are interested to see exactly what a data center is, obviously the way theirs is set up is a little bit different. They have designated spaces for each company that contracts with them, and some of the organizations are more private than others, but they have certainly spaces you can see what the inside of the data center is. So I just want to add that and say, also, thank you.
Great, thank you. Danny, anything tonight?
Just thank Victoria for her service. And it's been a pleasure working on the council with you, and wish you the best wherever you wind up. And thank you for your service.
All right.
And that's it, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Danny. Victoria?
I'm sorry, I told you I wasn't gonna plan a big
Sorry,
speech.
I just
I
wanted to
don't
give you-
do big speeches. But yes, it is my last meeting. I'm sad to go. This has been a unique opportunity, and I've learned a lot. So thank you to everybody. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to give you the opportunity for the last word,
Yeah.
one meeting, right? And so, on behalf of the city, I want to present you with this plaque in recognition of your service, so thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Brandon, you got your phone?
Yeah,
You got a
I can't
picture
sneak.
of,
I can't sneak around the other way. It might make
you
sense.
go out front.
Oh, okay.
and make it in front of your.
Never mind.
It's-
yeah. People watching.
You can do the motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm also gonna get a picture while you guys are posting.
Oh, this is going to be way better than mine. Okay.
Oh, no, I don't have my camera on me tonight.
Actually, do you want to take it out of the box? There's a glare.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Look at that.
I didn't even think about that.
Color coordinated.
I got enough in there that Whitney probably will be at least
Okay.
moderately happy.
I'm gonna get a closer one up.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
And so that's all I had tonight. So Victoria, you want to make?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
I'll send everything that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. This is.
Well,
Oh, yeah.